Tunisia's Prime Minister Youssef Chahed has tried to soothe anti-government sentiment, promising 2018 will be the last year of economic hardship. It follows protests in 10 towns on Monday, where demonstrators took to the streets angry over price and tax increases. The hikes have been imposed as part of a new austerity measures agreed with foreign lenders. There have been protests in Sudan as well, where the cost of a loaf of bread doubled after the government removed subsidies from its 2018 budget. The move is in line with reforms agreed with the International Monetary Fund. Jordan has announced it's cutting state subsidies on bread. As of next week, prices could surge by 100%. And recent protests in Iran were triggered by price rises for basic food items like eggs and poultry. To talk more about this, I'm now joined by World Affairs analyst Klisman Murati. Thanks very much for coming in to Al Jazeera. Just broadly, when we've got all these countries now saying that they're hiking up prices and people can't afford the very basics like a loaf of bread, what is going wrong with functioning economies that should be able to provide for their people?
It's a great question. 2018 started off very dismally for the Middle East and North Africa. Now, these issues are not new issues to the region. Typically, these issues take time for them to develop and to flourish to what we see today. And it's not good for the people themselves to suffer in such situations. By analysing economies of the Middle East, they're much more opaque, much more difficult to understand. Political decisions take a lot more effort to understand as opposed to Western democracies and economies. So a more deeper analysis would need to be had to understand the real reasons behind them, but it's not a great start.
I mean, let's take Sudan to start with. There's talk about the IMF's impact there. They've obviously taken money and it comes with economic reforms, expectations. Are they squeezing their people too quickly?
Squeezing their people too quickly and too strongly, I believe. There's only so much a nation which is as fragile as Sudan can take in any one go. Also, considering that Sudan has just been relinquished of sanctions by the US, so it has just enough time to breathe and get itself together. So still, it takes a while for the country to get back on its feet, and you see the public discontent happening now because of these decisions.
And then switching across to Tunisia, could these protests actually get worse? What could be the long-term ramifications? Because I'm reading some people are saying it's actually now costing us more to live than the uprising, which is a worrying situation.
It is a little bit of a worrying situation, but with Tunisia, we see the tax increases in the new budget coming to be now. And this has gotten a lot of people nervous and upset at their country. We see kind of inklings of the Arab Spring, as you also mentioned, which, number one, for the people itself, carries worries, but also for external investors, carries that same old view of the Middle East, of trouble and not a safe place to invest. So the government really needs to do something about this in order to change expectations and to help the country flourish.
And could the big international bodies like the World Bank, like the IMF, could they be doing more? You mentioned how Sudan is only just getting itself onto its feet. Can they be relying more on their assistance?
I think there's only so much an external body can do to fix an internal situation. The people themselves and the government themselves need to take a better look at themselves and what they can do to help their people first, and external bodies and funders second. But sometimes these two agendas get conflated and the wrong messages get sent out.
Klisman Murati, thank you very much for your assistance on understanding this.